Welcome back for hour number 2 of the Sports Buzz on WNTI 91.9 FM and streaming live on the web at WNTI.org. Talking sports and taking your calls at 908-852-4545.
And welcome back to the second hour of Sports Buzz. I'm your host, Jeff, still accompanied by Mike, Dan, and sadly Pop's still here in the studio. But as every show at the 11 o'clock hour, this is when I throw it to Dan, and he has asked me to call his segment the Cyclone Corner. So without further ado, I give you Dan with the Cyclone Corner.
Can you hear me, WNTI?
Yes, we can.
I'm so glad you can. Big week this week. We obviously have winter sports start up, and we did have our last portion of our fall season end, unfortunately, this past Saturday. Men's soccer, they played their NCAA first-round tournament game against number 4 ranked Messiah. They took a hard loss that day, 9-1. Lewis Marin did score the only goal of the day. So for Lewis to score a goal against number 4 ranked Messiah, number 4 ranked in the nation, it's definitely a lot of confidence for the Cyclones. But they did end. Even though they lost so badly, they did end the season on a high note with their first ever conference championship, and it looks like a sign of future things to come. I mean, a lot of the kids, I think there are only 4 or 5 upperclassmen that are leaving, but it seems to be a core of underclassmen that are going to keep this going for the next year or two. So a lot of optimism for a men's soccer team, but yeah, so I was pretty excited about men's soccer this year.
No, definitely shout out to them. Making it to the NCAA tournament is a big step and a big achievement. They should be happy about the CSAC championship that they got, and that will be with them forever, and a memory that they will never lose, and an honor that they will never lose. So shout out to the boys soccer team.
Ooh, yeah.
Great job, guys.
Okay, so I mean, men's soccer, great year. We're going to head on over to winter sports. Now we have to get into this little regimen of doing winter sports and basketball. I'm so used to doing soccer and volleyball, but let's get into it. Women's basketball, they played 3 games this past week. Their first game was Friday, November 15th against Penn State Wilkes-Barre in the Lady Cyclone tip-off tournament that the women's basketball team hosted. And Friday night, Mike and I did the play-by-play on the live stream. We had a good game for the Cyclones that night. They won 60-49, and they had, I think they had, 2 freshmen starting for the Cyclones? I think that was it.
Yeah, Mallory George, right?
Yeah, Mallory George. And Mallory George, this is a girl to look out for. A freshman, but I believe she's 6 feet even. But she had a double-double that night. She had 19 points and 18 rebounds. So, yeah, you could see a sign of future things to come for this women's basketball team this year. And on Saturday, they played Albright, second portion of the Lady Cyclone tip-off tournament. They lost against Albright, which was a very good team, I must say. They lost 60-54, and Cleisha Harris for Albright had a double-double of her own that day with 20 points and 11 rebounds. So they started off 1-1, but then yesterday they played Brynathan at Brynathan. They won that game 67-62, and of course Mallory George, it seems like I gotta get used to saying this girl's name. She led the scoring for the game with 19 points. So the women right now stand at 2-1, no conference games yet, and those are the games that matter, but it looks like 2-1 seems to be a sign of future things to come. But their next game is Wednesday, November 20th. Tomorrow, a home game against Drew University at 7 in the Reef Center here on Centenary College. And I will be doing the play-by-play with men's soccer star Abby Lawal, so you guys should definitely tune in to hear me and Abby talk. You don't have to worry about the game, but just listen to me and Abby talk, because it'll be fun. But on the topic of basketball, we can move on to men's basketball. Pretty rough first week for the men's basketball team. They played Mount St. Vincent on Friday, November 15th in the Mount St. Vincent tournament. They lost 67-65. And Brandon Serrano for Mount St. Vincent had a big day that day, a double-double with 30 points and 12 rebounds. So it was only a 1-possession loss, nothing too big. But they played St. Joseph's Brooklyn the very next day, and they lost 64-49. David Louison and Michael McGough for St. Joseph Brooklyn each had a double-double. Louison had 19 points, 12 rebounds, and McGough had 11 points and 10 rebounds. And then on Tuesday, Centenary men's basketball played Baruch College. They played them just before. They lost 62-49, but Tim Bricks had a double-double for Centenary, 14 points, 12 rebounds. So it looks like Tim Briggs is going to be a pretty good player this year, as well as every other men's basketball player. 0-3 start, not really the most encouraging thing in the world, but they haven't played any conference games yet. But so obviously we can turn things around when the conference games come in. It's just like men's soccer; they started off lousy, but when it came to conference games, they really stepped up big. So a lot of optimism for this season so far. But the men's basketball team, the next game is Saturday, November 23rd, a home game against NYU Poly at 2 p.m. So we should all go out and be there. I'll probably do the play-by-play for that.
I'll be at that game.
Yeah, you'll be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna show up. Got a lot of friends on the basketball team that want my support.
Want to do play-by-play with me?
That would be actually real fun if you want me to.
Absolutely, I'll get you to do that.
Awesome.
All right. So, and the last winter sport we can talk about is wrestling. Everyone wants to know about centenary wrestling. On Sunday, they played at the East Stroudsburg Open, and Josh Sibley's and Brian Grice each racked up 4 wins, each in their respective weight class. They didn't really. I don't think they kept score for the East Stroudsburg Open because it was a mix of division teams. I think they were also playing their Division 1s playing against Division 2s, but it was a huge open at East Stroudsburg. But Josh Sibley's, Brian Grice, stepping up big for the team. You got a freshman and a senior, so a good link to the future here. But their next match will be Saturday, November 23rd at the Doug Parker Invitational, hosted by Springfield College at 10 a.m. So we should see how wrestling does then. But for more information on Centenary Sports, please check us out at CentenaryCyclones.com. And until next week, let's go Cyclones. Back to you, Jeff, Mike, and Pop.
Thank you, Dan, as